What's going on, everyone? It's Griffin here, and today's video was super last minute but incredibly necessary with everything that's going on in the stock market right now. Seemingly every week we're hit with another curveball, and today's news was definitely out of left field. If you haven't looked at your portfolio yet, then definitely take a peek, and on that note, let's get right into today's video. What an insane last week it's been in the stock market leading up to the presidential election, and ultimately with Joe Biden taking the lead here, this is going to have its own set of impacts on the stock market moving forward, which we're going to be speaking about tremendously on the channel moving forward in the coming weeks in relation to renewable energy stocks as well as cannabis and others. But this Monday morning, we all woke up to this headline right here concerning a potential new vaccine for the Rona, and wow, was this news ever positively reflected in the stock market, bringing market futures to new all-time highs. By the time I woke up, markets were already rallying abroad in Asia and Europe, but this also translated over into North American market futures, with the Dow Jones, for example, leading the market at plus 6%, which is just unheard of. As of pre-market trading this morning, the Dow Jones Industrial Index is up 5.46%, the S&P 500 3.85%, the Russell 2000 a staggering 8.19%, and then trailing behind for the American markets, the Nasdaq at 0.80%, but still green across the board and a complete optimism towards this new vaccine. And just for fun here, check out some of these other stocks that were negatively impacted by the entire virus situation, like Carnival Cruise Corp. It was up roughly 30% at market open, or even Delta Airlines up roughly 20% at market open. These are both companies that operate in industries that were severely impacted by the entire medical situations with regulations around their overall operations, and for this reason, over the course of 2020, these companies have seen a significant loss in overall demand for their products and services. All of this news falls under the assumption that an effective and imminent vaccine will once again open back up international travel and help get the economy back up on its feet, because the virus could be better controlled, all of which would definitely have some truth to it, and this is what we've all been waiting on for months, so this news is absolutely huge. Again, this type of pre-market movement is pretty much unheard of. I've rarely even seen this. The last time I saw a 6% price movement in pre-market trading was way back in March, but it was the opposite when the market was crashing as a result of the Black Swan event that took the entire world by storm and pretty much just threw the entire stock market in the gutter. Now, I'm not sure if you remember this, but around the month of April 2020, a pharmaceutical company called Gilead Sciences came out with some news about a potential vaccine or medication that could help treat the virus. One of my good buddies and fellow YouTubers, Daniel Pronk, made a video about this company as it was rallying on the positive news, but since then, honestly, I haven't heard anything from the company ever again, and with the virus numbers rallying once again in the second part of the year here, ultimately we never ended up seeing anything significant come out of Gilead, and the stock has since followed, down roughly 30-40% I think as of the last time that I looked at that stock. But the idea of a vaccine is the savior in terms of really helping control the overall spread of the virus and bring back the overall economy, at least for small to medium-sized businesses. Throughout this past year, I think it's been made quite clear that the overall stock market does have an overall relationship with the economy, but not nearly to the extent of small to medium-sized businesses that are more tied together with the overall ebbs and flows of the economy, and whether or not the government chooses to impose regulations in terms of whether or not in-store businesses can operate or not. So for most companies that deal in in-store business, 2020 has been extremely difficult, and a vaccine is really going to be a catalyst towards a permanent shift of consumer behavior. At least that's how I see it, and this is also how the stock market appears to be interpreting it based on the pre-market trading today. Alright, so with all that said, let's actually speak about the company in question here that has just came out with some new news about an upcoming vaccine that ultimately led the pre-market to be shooting up to the moon. Big boy pharmaceutical company Pfizer once again comes in clutch here with the announcement of a new and upcoming vaccine that could very well control the overall virus spread, and this managed to help lift up something more than just their typical market, if you know what I mean. Pfizer says that the vaccine prevents 90% of infections in large studies, which is absolutely absolutely massive and would greatly help reduce the number of new cases emerging. So 90% here, this is the best news that we've seen yet regarding a vaccine since the beginning of 2020. The CEO of Pfizer, Dr. Albert Bourla, has stated that this is likely the most significant medical advance in the past 100 years if you count the impacts that this will have in public health and the global economy. Honestly, I kind of have to agree with that statement. Even though this is basically just a vaccine, well, the overall social economic impacts and damages that this particular virus has caused to the entire world, it's going to be nice to put an end to it, which will be a breath of fresh air. This is in response to the White House and Dr. Fauci saying that a vaccine with even a 50 or 60% rate of effectiveness would be acceptable. So 90% is a home run on this one. The vaccine was tested on a sample group of 43,538 participants, and of that group, there were only 94 participants that tested positive following the vaccine. This is also a 2-dose vaccine where current data suggests that protection against the virus would be achieved 28 days after the initial vaccination. In addition to this, roughly 42% of the trial's global participants had racially and ethnically diverse backgrounds, and there does not appear to have been any serious safety concerns yet. The company said that they plan to submit for emergency use authorization to the US Food and Drug Administration soon after they have 2 months of data, which is currently on track for the 3rd week of November. So things are progressing extremely rapidly right now, and we seem to have obtained this information sort of at the end mark of the overall trials. Based on current projections, Pfizer and BioNTech expect to produce up to 50 million vaccine doses in 2020 and up to 1.3 billion doses in 2021. And the vaccine requires 2 doses per person. Now, in July, the companies reached a nearly $2 billion agreement with the US government to supply 100 million doses. That is quite a few doses and should have a significant impact in slowing down the overall spread, at least in the US. All this to say that as of right now, US officials and scientists are very hopeful that a vaccine to prevent this virus will be ready in the first half of 2021, which is 12 to 18 months since Chinese scientists first identified the virus and mapped its genetic sequence, which actually appears to be a record-breaking time frame for this type of overall process. So anyways, this is some pretty intense news both for the stock market and public health that I absolutely wanted to cover on the channel. And since I still have a full-time job and I saw this news upon waking up this morning, I basically had to make this entire video before work. So I hope that the information still proves to be true by the time that this video ends up airing, probably around 3 or 4 p.m. But regardless of extremely impressive short-term one-day price movements, at least in the pre-market at the time that I'm looking at the data, well, this implementation of a new vaccine for the virus is absolutely paramount in order to get the economy back on track, open everything back up again, and it will ultimately have a significant impact on the stock market in the medium to long term. That is an absolute fact. Make sure to let me know what your thoughts are on this overall situation in terms of the medical situation, the vaccine, the stock market, whatever your thoughts are, let me know down in the comments. And if you're up for it, comment down below how your portfolio performed today and which stocks in particular you're interested in right now. I really hope you enjoyed this quick video on this updated market news. If you did, please take 2 seconds to drop a like. It really helps the channel grow. And also make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell button if you want to learn more about how to invest in the stock market news, and overall company analysis videos. So on that note, thanks a lot for watching today's video, and I'll see you in the next one.